In this module, we will talk about internship research. That is, the research that you will need to do to build a base for your internship applications. Like I mentioned in the introduction module, I've heard a number of students complaining that they have applied to so many firms and never seem to get shortlisted. Well, it could be because you're repeating the same mistakes again and again in your profile or your application, leading to the same result. If you do your research on what firms are looking for in their interns and tweak your profile and change the way that you're applying, you could see a higher degree of success in your internship applications. You can pause this video here and read this internship application sent to a law firm called RK Diwan, which is one of India's oldest and prestigious law firms. Is there anything wrong with this application? How do you think the firm would have responded here? Pause this video for half a minute and think what could be the outcome of this application. Well, if you guess that this application would be rejected, you are on the right track. A little bit of research would have shown the candidate that this firm, RK Diwan, specializes in intellectual property law, and the applicant has clearly written that he is interested in criminal law. So why would the recruiter even open the resume? In fact, this is a surprisingly frequent occurrence. Even at LawMint, we receive quite a few internship requests which are completely misdirected. This is a very simple example to show that some basic research could have yielded a better outcome. An interesting statistic that I read somewhere is that around 47% of the candidates are rejected because they show little or no knowledge of the company or the role that they have applied for. This is true for law firms as well and holds good for internship candidates also. The rejection due to lack of basic awareness can happen at an email level itself, or at a CV level, or even at an interview level. One of the most fundamental rules when you are applying for an internship with any organization is that you should know what the firm is all about, what do they do, and what are they looking for. Remember the recruitment funnel or the selection funnel that I spoke about in one of the previous modules, where just about 10% of the original applicants will get shortlisted for the actual selection rounds? The objective of internship research is to prepare to get into the 10% shortlist so that you have a good shot at getting through to the next rounds. If 47% of the candidates are being rejected because of lack of awareness of the firm or the role, a simple but systematic research will boost your chances of getting shortlisted. Research will help you customize your email, your cover letter, and your resume. And you will also be able to answer many of the interview questions with conviction and confidence. The 6-step research flow that I recommend is quite simple, and I will go into each point in detail. Your research will start with an overview of the different practice areas. Then you will make a list of the most common practice areas. List down the top 5 areas that interest you. Then make a list of the top 20 firms in each of these domains. Then you need to look at how and when they recruit interns. Next, you will evaluate your profile against the information that you have gathered and understand the gaps. I will explain each of these steps over the next few slides, but let us start first with the main sources of information for your research. For your primary research into various areas, you will of course start with Google to find the relevant websites and links. They might be blogs, newspaper articles, reports, or papers published by the firm. The firm's official website should be your next stop. Read through all the sections, including the information about their partners, their office locations, their specializations, any blog posts or articles they might have written, any special initiatives, and yes, their internship program and selection process as well. Next, LinkedIn is quite useful in getting an overview about the employees and ex-employees. You can also find out if you are connected to any one of them personally, professionally, or through an alumni pool. On Legally India and Baron Bench, if you search with the firm's name, you can see information on changes in the firm, major deals or cases that the firm has been involved with recently, and other news. On Indian Qanun, you can search with the name of the firm and you will come across judgments of cases where the firm has represented one of the clients. Just reading through the titles will give you an idea about the type of cases and clients handled by the firm. Finally, Glassdoor may not be so useful for internship research, but it is certainly useful if you are applying for a job, since it gives you a sense of the work culture, the hierarchy, and the salaries. Now, let us take a look at each point in the research flow list in detail. Start with making a list of the various practice areas. Then you need to understand the scope of each practice area. What does it actually mean? What do lawyers actually do in that practice area? When I speak to law students, they often make statements like I'm interested in IPR or I'm interested in corporate law. But not many of them realize that IPR itself has at least 5 or 6 specializations and multiple focus areas. IPR practice can be anything from handling routine filing of trademark applications, which is relatively high volume, low complexity work, to more complex work like litigation in IPR infringement cases. Even the term corporate law is very generic, and there are more than 10 different practice areas that can be grouped under corporate law. Everything from plain vanilla commercial law to the more exotic mergers and acquisitions, venture capital related work, and startup advisory, all of them generally come under corporate law but are classified into different specializations. You should know that depending on the area that you choose, the difference between the various specializations within corporate law can be as much as between Harvey Specter and Sarkari Daftar. If you're not familiar with Harvey Specter, you should watch Suits on Netflix. When I was researching into the top law firms in India, I could list down at least 40 different practice areas or specializations. Don't worry if this list is unreadably small on your screen. I have included this list in the module documents. Also, don't get overwhelmed by the length of this list. If you notice, there are plenty of super specializations which add to the numbers. For example, within project development practice, there are 6 super specializations: energy, infra, oil and gas, power, telecom, and transport. Each super specialization is required because of different nuances in these sectors, different regulatory frameworks, and different types of clients. Since you are starting off your journey as a law professional, you may not have an opportunity to straight away get into many of these specializations, but unless you know about these areas, you may not even realize that there are some very exciting opportunities here. To learn more about these practice areas, you can start with the Best Law Firm series of articles on lawment.com, where we have given a very brief overview of the specific practice area and listed the best firms in each. You can read through the websites of some of the top firms, and there is plenty of material available on the internet. To summarize, the first step in your research will be to create a list of the different practice domains and understand the scope of each practice area. Once you have an overview and a basic understanding of the various practice areas, make a list of the most common domains across multiple firms. This exercise will give you a big picture of what the legal practices in India look like. For example, many large law firms have a corporate law practice. This happens to be one of the most common domains. There are also many firms, typically boutique firms, which are completely focused on intellectual property related practice. Bankruptcy law is an emerging area, especially since the bankruptcy related laws in India are undergoing rapid evolution, and many firms are building this practice. On the other hand, there are very few large firms which are into family law or criminal law. This is an area dominated by small firms and individual practitioners. The reason why I want you to research into the most common practice areas across various law firms is to get a better understanding of what are the opportunities and where are they. In other words, to understand what kind of access and opportunities you have. For example, maritime law is a relatively niche practice area with just a handful of firms, and they typically tend to be based in Mumbai or Chennai. So if your interest is in maritime law, your internship should also be done in one of these cities. And your future career in this area may also require you to be based in these cities. Same with aviation law practice, which is a very specialized area, with firms mostly being based in Mumbai or Delhi. If you see yourself being able to live and work in these cities, you should aim at this specific practice area. To summarize step 2, you will make a list of the most common practice areas across various law firms. The more popular the practice, the more number of opportunities that you will have and the more number of law firms that you can target. This step will also help you understand the geographical locations, that is, the cities where the opportunities exist, and you can decide whether it is practical for you to access them. The third step is to make a list of the top 5 areas that interest you. This list will be based on the previous 2 steps, where you first understood the scope of various practice areas and then you understood the opportunities in each area. By shortlisting 5 areas of interest, your approach will be more focused. You will know which firms to apply for internship. You will know what courses and certifications will be useful. You can read and learn more about these specific areas to prepare yourself. What if you are interested in more than 5 areas? Sure, you can be interested in 5, 6 or 10 areas, and your list can consist of 10 practice areas. But you should also be practical and not have too many items on your list. Otherwise, it is not a short list anymore. On the other hand, what if you are interested in just 2 or 3 practice areas? Well, then you are limiting your opportunities. So your list should have a minimum of 5 practice areas, at least when you are starting off with your internship journey. Eventually, when you are in your pre-final year or final year, you can narrow down the list to 1 or 2 specializations. You will also need to write down a couple of reasons for your interest in each of these top 5 areas on your list. For example, you can't just randomly say I like IPR. You have to jot down some points on why are you interested in this practice. Because when you fill in various internship application forms, draft your resume, prepare your cover letter or attend interviews, you will find yourself answering this question quite often. Firms usually expect you to have some clarity about why you are interested in their practice areas. So being clear about the reasons behind your interest is always helpful. To summarize point 3, make a short list of the top 5 areas of interest and write down at least 2 reasons for your interest in that specific area. In the previous step, you made a short list of the top 5 practice areas that interest you. In this step, you will make a list of the top 20 firms in each of these practice areas. You can directly go to lawmen.com's top law firms lists in various categories and choose the firms, or you can go to websites like LiveLaw or Bar and Bench and come up with your own list of top 20 firms based on your own parameters. Let us be clear here. The concept of top 20 here does not mean the biggest 20 firms. It can be based on any parameters that are important for you. For example, if you are interested in cyber law and you are interested in exploring opportunities in Bengaluru and Chennai only, then your top 20 list may consist of cyber law firms based in these 2 cities only. Similarly, if you are interested in family law and you are interested in exploring opportunities in Mumbai and Delhi, then your top 20 list may consist of individual practitioners or boutique firms in these 2 cities, because family law is not usually practiced by large firms. Next, you need to read a little bit more about each of the firms on your list. Use Google, search on LinkedIn, Indian Qanun, LiveLaw, Bar and Bench to know more about the people in these top firms on your list. Who are the partners? Who are the heads of the various practice areas? Has the firm been in the news recently? What are the type of cases that the firm has worked on? Let us look at a small example. Say if I did some quick research on Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas. First I went to the firm's website. I saw their locations, their partners and how the firm is structured. Looking at the partners' bios gives me a better understanding of how they arrived at where they are. What is their background, their qualifications, their experience. Some of which can be talking points if I have an interview with them. It shows that I have done my research before applying. Going to LinkedIn shows me any possible connections with the partners, associates or interns with the firm. Is there anybody from my college alumni network that I can reach out to? While the formal process to apply is through the internship application process, let's be realistic. Relationships matter a lot too. And when it comes to internships, knowing somebody senior in the target law firm can help you get your foot in the door, at least get you a better shot at an interview. So leverage LinkedIn to see if you have any connections into the firm. LiveLaw and Bar and Bench gave me a fair idea about what is happening with the firm. Some new areas that the firm is expanding into, new partners joining the firm, partners moving out and starting their own practices. Some of these happenings can be opportunities as well. For example, I could see that the firm has opened a new office in Gift City in Gandhinagar near Ahmedabad. Since this is a new office, the competition for internship may be less. So should I apply to this specific office? Next, I go to Indian Qanun and I can see a number of cases handled by the firm. And I can see that the clients that they have represented, like Axis Bank, IDBI, HDFC, Bajaj Finance, Citicorp, are all banks or players in the financial sector, which tells me that this firm is a big player in the financial services sector. Reading through the judgments gave me a better understanding of the type of cases that they handle, and it will help me in crafting my resume and cover letter. It will also help me sound knowledgeable during the interview. To summarize step 4, Make a list of the top 20 firms that you wish to approach in each of the 5 practice areas that you are interested in. Research a little more deeply into each firm. Read through their website, about their partners, any recent news about the firm, the type of cases, and the clients that they handle. Coming to step number 5, this is something that can be done mostly as part of step 4 itself. Since you are going to the websites of the top firms in your areas of interest, go to the career section if available and read about their internship process. Not all the firms may have a detailed application process mentioned on their website, in which case you will need to use Google and search for internship experiences and check various websites where the internship notifications may be posted. The information that you are looking for in step 5 is, first, what is the official internship application process? Second, what are the application cycles, the timelines and other requirements? Third, does the firm have online internships, offline internships or both? Let me walk you through a couple of examples. In terms of timelines, a quick check shows that PSA Legal requires applications to be sent 2 months in advance, whereas Juris Corp says 3 months in advance. This means that applying to PSA 3 months in advance may be too early, and applying to Juris Corp 2 months in advance may be too late. So if I'm applying to these two firms, I will have to apply at the right time that they have mentioned. As for mandatory requirements, Fox Mandal says that only students in their 3rd year or higher are eligible to apply to them. Whereas Lakshmi Kumaran and Sridharan says that only 4th and 5th year candidates can apply to their firm. And looking at the application formalities, JSA's process consists of filling up an online application form, uploading a resume, supporting documents and a writing sample. Whereas economic law practice requires you to fill up a form, submit your resume and complete an online assessment quiz. When you do your research on the top law firms where you want to intern, you should have all such details collated so that you can plan and apply in a systematic manner. And of course, going to the firm's website and reading about the application process will also confirm if the firm requires you to send your resume and cover letter in any specific format, or they have a template to fill. Or sometimes the entire application process will be through an online form with no attachments or documents to be sent. For example, Agama requires you to fill up and send them a specific MS Word template, which includes all the details that they need to assess your profile. In case of ALG India law officers, they have an online application form to be filled up. And you need to submit PDF copies of your publications or writing samples. Applying through email will get you rejected immediately. The firm Amlegals has just provided an email ID for internship applications, which means that you can send your cover letter, resume and writing samples, preferably in one consolidated document. Firms may even mention their selection criteria on their website. For example, ELP says that they select candidates on the basis of previous internships and exposure to work, higher knowledge assessment scores in their quiz, clearance of the interview process, and they prefer candidates who are conceptually strong with a willingness to learn. ALMT Legal wants interns who are at the top of their class academically and possess strong interpersonal leadership, writing and analytical skills. HSI Advocates wants good communication and interpersonal skills with a willingness to work hard and an ability to work in a team. Knowing the selection criteria of the firm will help you in presenting yourself better in your resume and also during your interviews. Another interesting insight that I would like to share with you is this graph that looks like an ECG, an electrocardiogram that tracks a person's heartbeat. I got this graph from Google Search Trends. It shows the frequency of internship related searches over the last 10 years. I just pulled out the chart for internship in general, and this would include searches related to all courses in India which have an internship component. It would also include variations like LLB internship, law internship, and more focused searches like JSA internship or Fox Mandal internship. What is interesting to note here is that the search for internships in general peaks during the summer months, obviously when students have holidays, and the demand is much less during the beginning of the academic year. Now we can safely assume that the searches and applications for law internships also will follow a similar pattern. So the competition for internships during the start of any academic year is less. So wouldn't it be the best time to apply to tier 1 firms? And even if you have to apply to a tier 1 firm for an internship in the month of say June, then you need to know when to apply. which is also the information that you would have collated in step 5. For example, if a firm says apply 2 months in advance, then you need to apply by the last week of March for a June internship. To summarize the 5th step in the research flow, knowing the how, what, when and other specifics of the internship application process is very critical. Go to the websites of all the firms on your list of top 20 firms in each of your preferred practice areas, and if the firm's website does not have the required information, use Google to dig up the data from other sources. You are compiling information on what is the official internship application process, what are the application cycles, timelines and requirements for all the firms on your list, and whether the firms offer online, offline or both types of internship. This research will help you prepare a structured internship application form so that you can apply to the right firms at the right time and maximize your selection probability. And you can also avoid silly mistakes which may get you rejected right away, like applying to a firm by email when they have clearly mentioned that you should use their online form. The 6th and the last step in the internship research process is to understand what are the most common requirements that may be mentioned by various firms in their selection criteria. Add up the requirements of some of the firms on your list and you will have a comprehensive set of factors that are used by almost every tier 1 firm to assess your candidature. As I have mentioned earlier, ELP says that they consider previous internships and an exposure to work, higher knowledge assessment scores in their quiz, interview performance, conceptual strength, and a willingness to learn. ALMT Legal wants interns who are at the top of their class academically and possess strong interpersonal leadership, writing, and analytical skills. HSA Advocates wants good communication and interpersonal skills, a willingness to work hard, and the ability to work in a team. Ikigai Law says that they look at academics, past internship experience, moot court participation as a speaker or researcher, publication and research work, and extracurricular activities which provide evidence of initiative, leadership, talent, and personality attributes. So if we add up the requirements that are explicitly stated by several law firms, we arrive at a list which looks like all firms generally will look at academics, published articles and research papers. They look at moot court competitions, volunteering experience, previous internships, and any other forms of recorded evidence of communication, leadership potential, and teamwork. When you assess your profile or your resume against the list of selection criteria that you have summarized in the previous step, you will get a better understanding of where the gaps are and what are the aspects that are missing in your profile. Like the old saying goes, if you know the problem, you can solve the problem. For example, since every firm asks for published articles, if that is a gap, write a few articles, get them published on reputed websites, and you can plug the gap. Since communication skills is an extremely essential skill in any law firm, complete an online course in business communication so that you get a certification, plus you are better prepared for your internship and your career. Just to clarify, business communication does not mean English lessons. Business communication is essentially about how to send and receive information through both verbal and non-verbal modes in a formal environment. Coming back to the gaps in your profile, in one of the next modules, we will talk about how to build your profile. For now, to summarize the 6th step, first you need to understand the most common requirements that top law firms look for in their interns. This has been done in the previous step. In step 6, you will do a quick check to understand what are the gaps in your profile. The activities for this module are essentially a recap of all that we have learned now. Go through lawmen.com's articles as a starting point and also refer to other websites to get an overview of various practice areas. Identify the most common practice areas since they represent the largest number of opportunities both for internships and for your future career. Shortlist your top 5 areas of interest with some specific reasons as to why you prefer those practices. Identify the top 20 firms in each of these practice areas. You can again use lawmen.com's articles which have lists of top firms and their office locations. You may like a firm, but if it is located in a city that you are not comfortable with, you can drop the firm and move on to the next one. Eventually, 5 into 20, you will have a list of 100 firms that you can apply to. Next, go to the websites of each of these firms and use Google liberally to understand how do these top firms recruit interns and when do they do it. While you are on their website, you should also collate information on what is their selection criteria. The last step is to assess your profile critically against their selection criteria and understand the gaps. And as I have mentioned earlier, be sincere and complete all the post-module activities. Preferably complete them before you get into the next module. So once you're done with it, come over to the next module and I'll meet you there.